I went to Taco Del Mar today, as I often do when I travel across the state. And some guy was like, do you guys have different size tortillas? And the guy's like, big and small. He's like, what do those look like? And he goes, big and small. He's like, can I see them? And then he holds them up and he goes, big, small.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there is Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Instagram and Bluesky at namely90s. You can also find us on YouTube every Monday at youtube.com/@namely90s. And finally, if you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/namely90s, also with a 90s, and get signed up for one of our support levels.
Yeah.
All right. It's the first day of the rest of our lives. I mean, after the 4-year special.
Yeah. Last week was
It was a doozy.
Yeah, long episode.
Listening to myself say that's right that many times in a row is really uncomfortable. But also very consistent at a certain point. Yeah.
Yeah. At a certain point. Because I think I managed to find
welcome to the show. That was my very first intro.
Yeah, I think I managed to find like the four, 6 episodes where like you said something different over the course of 250 something episodes. And
I do love how like the very first recording, the only thing that's changed from then is nothing to do with my voice or my technique. I guess my microphone got a little bit better, but basically it's just the behind the scenes filtering magic that you do with the audio. But like mics don't always pull the best audio. You have to kind of finesse the best audio out of it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which
we're
you
using
do well.
The best mics we can afford, and then we...
but you see all these people with these trash lapel mics that they're holding, getting good quality audio. So I feel like we have good mics, you know? It's good enough.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking into getting one of those, the newer ones, the wireless, the Rode wireless, not the Go's, but the whatever the new economy one is. Yeah, I
mean, if someone's going to complain about our show, it's not going to be the sound quality. There's plenty of other things to complain about with our show. Yeah,
no, I'm not getting it for myself. Helping someone out with a project, and then I was like, that'd be good to have just in my back catalog of
Shoot, I'm thinking about doing this podcast from the couch. Just have a camera on me with my little lapel mic, just hold it right here, or the corded like headphones with the little part that you talk into for your phone calls.
Yes,
that one I sent you.
Yes,
where they were like interviewing a guy and they were holding the cord up to his face.
That was like a stock like Apple headphone headset. Yeah.
And it sounded pretty bad, as you imagine. It was kind of crackly and terrible. I'm like, you can afford to pay for advertisements, but you can't afford like a microphone? Mm-hmm. Really?
I mean, do you remember our first year of Christmas specials when we had what was it called? The Canadian journalist who has like the 90s podcast.
Seinfeld episode.
Yep, Seinfeld episode. She had a headset, but it sounded good because
there are good quality headsets. I bought the cheapest possible headset one could purchase off of Amazon my first episode, and it was terrible.
And like I was lucky to have this Rode Podcaster or Pod. I don't remember which one of this is, but it's made for podcasts, USB mic, and it was thrust upon me way back when I was doing Rewind. So
it was rode hard and put away wet. Rode.
Indeed.
We're a Rode podcast in general. I have the pod mic over here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like Rode. I've seen a lot of people with DJI these days for lapel mics, for wireless lapels. Okay. And then what I haven't seen in a long time, Blue Yeti.
Yeah, because they just look absolutely asinine.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, they're good starter mics, but they're not great.
But the good thing is, like, if you pick up a mic for $100
mm-hmm.
and you know a little bit about editing and sound filters,
mm-hmm.
you can make pretty much any mic sound decent.
You pay $500 a year for a professional editing suite.
I mean, you can do a lot with free tools as well. Not as much, not as good, but you can do a lot. Like I was just dinking on Audacity, and it's pretty impressive what you can accomplish with Audacity with a few little tips and tricks. So,
mm-hmm.
Anyway, good job on the audio editing.
Thank you.
And good job on 4 years. So it was a fun little special to do.
Yeah, that was fun. I finally, after four years, we did it 4 times. I finally edited the YouTube version to have all the clips in it, which I have not done the years prior. It was
it was quite a lot of work.
Yeah, it was definitely an extra full day and a half of editing that I wouldn't have done normally.
We gotta stop doing these clip shows.
Yeah, or remember to just edit the video next time instead of doing separate audio and then finding the clips.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or take notes on where in the episode it is that I'm pulling from each clip instead of just being like, oh, hey, there's a funny portion. I'll just clip that there.
Let's see what else. I went to Chick-fil-A again today. The funny thing is, every time I go to Chick-fil-A, I think I'm going canceled to hell, and I'm like, wait, no, what? Like, I feel bad for going there, and so my thought is I'm going to hell, but it's like, wait, that's the Jesus chicken place.
Yes, but also, aren't you going to hell for that?
Yeah, true. I'm going to liberal hell.
Yes. Which as the woke mob, or no, the anti-woke mob says is, I had a good joke. Don't know where it went.
It just plays that song courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue by Toby Keith on loop in liberal hell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, liberal hell. Oh, yes. As the woke mob would call it, cancellation.
Cancellation, like the ultimate fate of every Tim Allen series. Heyo.
Or Tim Allen in general.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting canceled, do you know anything about the Kendrick beef?
Other than that, I couldn't be bothered to care any less. No, not really.
Like at all? You didn't like?
I don't understand beef in music. It's really stupid, but I'm aware of it, and I'm aware of what you're going to talk about, but I haven't watched anything pertaining to it.
Like, and again, this is probably 2 weeks ago at this point, but it's just like Kendrick Lamar and Drake are having a feud. J. Cole was tried to throw in and then immediately was like, nope, I'm out. But even Tom Hanks, 90s actor, loved by everyone. He had to he asked Chet Hanks over about what the beef was, and Chet, of course, screen capped this private moment with his father and posted it on Twitter or Instagram or something.
Instagram.
Yeah, it must have been Instagram. But so I'm just gonna read this to you. I might skip some, but so Tom Hanks, Big Man, can you explain the Drake/Kendrick Lamar feud to me? And then Chet replies, yeah, so Drake and this other dude, J. Cole, been saying they, along with Kendrick, are the big three in rap. Then Kendrick put out a song saying, F the big three, it's just big me, initiating the beef. Then Drake was like, you got small feet because you're like 5'5" or whatever. And then Kendrick was like, you're a deadbeat dad, and made fun of his Canadian accent. So Drake came back and was like, oh yeah, well, I heard you beat your wife. But literally like 30 seconds later, Kendrick put out a diss overshadowing overshadowing Drake's disses, where he pretty much methodically dismantled Drake's entire psyche and called him a pedophile for flirting with young girls, and revealed Drake had another kid that he was hiding from the world, which turned out to be false. And Drake came back and was like, haha, I got your ass. I had people give you false info to make you look stupid, but it didn't even matter, because then Kendrick just dropped another West Coast banger where he really went in on labeling Drake a pedophile. That was pretty much the sonic equivalent of I lost it.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
When you took me to your high school in Oakland and we walked in on the basketball game and everyone started going nuts. Like, if you heard it, you would just automatically know how to, I'm not going to say that word, walk with a stank face while clutching an Oscar in each hand with Marshawn Lynch. Then dap him. I didn't vet the last half of this. Then dap him up and tell him town business, which solidified the win not only for Kendrick but the entire West Coast.
I mean, I know that none of that scene is intended for me, but I literally just don't care, and it just sounds inane.
These are
like people with too much money getting into stuff that just doesn't matter.
And these are the two whitest people talking to each other about this.
And by the way, that's great. Let's teach our listeners all about how to have toxic pride and masculinity.
Tom Hanks says, "Holy cow! These are fighting words. People taking sides. Who's winning?" And then Chet replies, "Did you not just read what I said?" with 3 laughing emojis.
It was nonsensical. You can't even understand it. Really,
I understood every word. And which, of course, is why this episode's dedicated to East Coast, West Coast rap.
No.
I think we already did that, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I feel like we don't need to go back to the days where rap stars were shooting each other.
Right.
I know we're low on time, but I do want to acknowledge something that now happened a couple of weeks ago, but it was the shot heard round the world. These 6 simple words: bleach blonde, bad built, butch body. Did you see this?
No, is that
you weren't familiar with this?
No.
It
sounds familiar.
A senator, representative, fired back at Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That was
with those
that
6
this week?
Genius words. It was like a week or 2 ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess we're recording this early.
Loved that. Super funny. Anyway.
Well, that was because Marjorie Taylor Greene started with like,
she was being horrible.
I think. Yeah,
as usual.
Like, oh, can you not see because of your long eyelashes?
Oh yeah, she called out her fake eyelashes. Speaking of beefs, but what an amazing response! Like that was great. Also, do you notice how serial killers always have like the middle name in there? Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Ruth Bader Ginsburg,
who is a serial killer, famous
Notorious
for
B.I.G.
Anyway, so instead of East Coast, West Coast rap battles, we're going to talk about something even more gangster. Garfield.
Indeed. So there's a new Garfield movie in theaters right now.
With the unavoidable Chris Pratt.
But also featuring Samuel L. Jackson as Garfield's estranged father, Nicholas Holtz playing John Arbuckle, and a bunch of other SNL cast members. Also, Vin Rhames is a voice in it too. I saw Cecily Strong was a voice, and Bowen Yang are in it. But yeah, we haven't talked about Garfield, I don't think, during the 90s. And yes, the comic strip predates the 90s. But we were both big Garfield readers, I would say, during the 90s.
I love Garfield.
And for those of you out there that don't know, Garfield is an American comic strip created by Jim Davis. It was originally published as John in 1976, but once it got nationwide syndication in 1978, it became Garfield, and it chronicles the life of the titular character, Garfield the cat, his human owner, John Arbuckle, and Odie the dog. As of 2013, it was syndicated in over 2,500 newspapers and journals, and held the Guinness World Record for being the world's most widely syndicated comic strip. Also, for you 90s babies, there was an 80s cartoon, late 80s cartoon that ran from September of 88 to December of 94, and then was like on syndication in the early to mid 90s, which was called Garfield and Friends, which featured animated storylines adapted from the comics, and had Lorenzo Music provide the voice of Garfield. And he's the voice of Garfield for, I would say, Gen X, Gen Y, and then it goes into Bill Murray for Gen Z, probably.
Yeah.
With the 2004 movies. Yeah. So, what do you remember of Garfield?
Well, I remember reading a lot of it. We had the little, I didn't read it in the paper generally, but I read it in the little books that were kind of like short and fat. Mm-hmm, and then they made the bigger ones that were the treasuries, were kind of like the greatest hits of Garfield.
Oh, yeah.
And I would just read these things sort of voraciously. I always thought it was super funny. I like the kind of dry wit and sort of sarcasm in the...
I hate Mondays.
Yeah. So I've always been a big Garfield fan personally. Mm-hmm. And I do vaguely remember like watching the show or being aware of the show, and like, to me, I agree, like that voice sounds right. And now like it's ruined me because every other voice for Garfield sounds wrong.
Yeah. Like Bill Murray sounds like Bill Murray, not like Garfield.
Also, Bill Murray's kind of a douche. Generally, people have reported that he's kind of a douche.
I think people that he works with, but he also does that thing where he crashes people's weddings and is just like, hey, I'm Bill Murray.
Let's see what else.
Oh, Jennifer Love Hewitt was in the 2004 movie.
I feel like the problem though, when you try to do these like Garfield movies, is you have to make a story, but like Garfield, if there was a story, it kind of went through like, 5 or 6 pages, and it was fairly like, they're very limited stories. That's not the point of Garfield. Yeah. So it's like you have to cram a beginning, middle, and end into a movie, and it's like whatever is happening in this new movie where, he's gets stuck outside or whatever, and it's a wild outdoor adventure, which is apparently part of the blurb for the new Garfield. Like that doesn't sound good to me.
Do you want to read the blurb?
Sure. There's a 2024 movie with Christ Pratt as the
next bullet point.
No, I know. Sorry. You said Christ Pratt. That's making me laugh. Garfield, voiced by Christ Pratt, the world famous Monday hating, lasagna loving indoor cat, is about to have a wild outdoor adventure. After an unexpected reunion with his long lost father, scruffy street cat Vic, voiced by Samuel L. Jackson, Garfield and his canine friend Odie are forced from their perfectly pampered life into joining Vic in a hilarious high-stakes heist.
What?
That sounds like trash. That's not what Garfield's about, and I think that's why it's difficult to adapt into a feature-length film. But granted, I haven't seen it yet, so maybe it actually is good. I don't know. I mean, it's got some star power. Probably not.
It does have some star power. I mean, it'll probably be a good kids movie.
Christ Pratt.
I mean, you're the one with kids. What constitutes a good kids movie?
I don't really have the answer to that. But I do know the kids were watching some very weird, like current or recent Garfield series that's like not either of the two that you.
Oh yeah, there's been 3 or 4
in the blurb. Whatever the one they watched recently, it's really bad. It's just horrendously bad.
There's the Garfield show from 2009.
That could be it.
Like CG animation.
Yeah,
with 5 seasons. But there's also
it's really bad.
Yeah, so
basically unwatchable.
So like early 2000s then.
Yeah.
But there's also Garfield Originals, which are animated shorts, 2D animated shorts. Yeah, so it must have been the Garfield show.
Yeah, it was not watchable. I don't really know what makes a good kids movie. Short. They have a short attention span generally.
Fair.
As an adult, humor that you can feel safe for them to watch. You know, you don't have to like worry about filtering things out, which is good. Apparently Chris Pratt has to be in it now.
Yeah. Mario.
Lego
Jurassic World Lego movie. He's been in a lot.
Yeah. Hailing from the town of Lake Stevens.
Yeah.
Or he lived there for a while or something.
My aunt went to church with his parents at one point. Not to dox Chris Pratt's parents.
Ouch. Yeah. Anything else about Garfield? I mean, as a veterinarian, I can't recommend you feed your cat lasagna.
It's probably safe. Yeah. I mean, you were actually, I think, were the one that got me into reading Garfield. And then I also had went to the library that summer and then checked out every single Garfield I could possibly read. Yeah. There was a Gem in the Holograms movie.
Sorry?
I said there was a Gem in the Holograms movie. What?
Oh, here's one thing I wanted to mention.
Chris Pratt.
I think I've told you about this. The website Garfield-Garfield.net, where you go there and it's just these like funny scenes, but they take out all of Garfield and the dialogue.
Yeah, I do love those.
I highly recommend it. Here's one where I'm going to just describe one. John is standing there looking at a cheeseburger with a smile on his face. This plant-based meat tastes just like hamburger. And then his face falls, but his eyes are still wide. And then he half lids his eyes and jims the camera. There's just no Garfield. That's the comic. I highly recommend Garfield-Garfield.net. It's good for a laugh.
I mean, some of my favorites are when he's reacting to Garfield. So it's he's just deadpan and then suddenly he's screaming and then back to deadpan or something. Or it's he yells at Garfield I almost ate the donut. Or yeah.
I gotta stop reading these. I'm gonna die. I think they stopped making them though, because it says the date, but I don't think it's the actual date. The last one is June 14th of 2023. So they're a bit outdated. No, February 2024.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway. All right. And now let's go to Brandon for the Namely 90s Minute.
Welcome back to Namely 90s Minute. Every week we look back at a culturally relevant show, movie, or piece of pop culture that probably helps stoke the algorithm. This week, in honor of Furiosa, a Mad Max saga featuring a character originally made famous by Charlize Theron, we're looking back at one of her first big screen roles in That Thing You Do. That Thing You Do is a 1996 musical comedy drama written and directed by Woody from Toy Story, starring American Werewolf in Paris, Corey from Empire Records, George from You've Got Mail, Mark from Empire Records, Joe Fox from You've Got Mail, and Furiosa. Set in 1964 Erie, Pennsylvania, local band The Wonders asked their friend Guy to fill in on drums during a talent show since their current drummer broke their arm. During the show, Guy plays the beat faster on their song and it helps them win the talent show. The prize being a paid gig at a local pizza parlor. While playing the gig, their new fans ask for a record, so they record their one popular song and sell it on 45s. A local talent promoter signs the band, promising to get them on the radio within 10 days and gets it playing in Pennsylvania, so he books the band in a rock and roll showcase. But due to technical problems, the band gets booed off the stage. After the promoter takes them to meet Mr. White, who is a rep at a big record company and gets the band a contract with them, Mr. White renames them The Wonders, spelled correctly because before people kept pronouncing it Onators. Mr. White also styles the band and makes Guy wear sunglasses to help with their presentation. Then he gets them to tour some state fairs with other artists from the company and gets the lead singer's girlfriend to roll as their stylist. They learn a lot on tour. The lead singer starts spending a lot of time with Diane, another singer. The bassist falls in love with a member of a different group, and their single gets national airplay. Mr. White sends them to LA to do publicity, but on the day of the appearance on a national variety show, the bassist is nowhere to be found, who Mr. White replaces with a seasoned one. The lead singer is vomiting due to nerves, and Guy is hungover after partying with his jazz idol, and the guitarist is preoccupied with his new girlfriend. They manage to pull it together and perform, but during the performance, while on the lead singer, a caption read, "Careful girls, he's engaged." So after the show, he blows up at his neglected girlfriend and says he never plans on proposing to her, so they break up. The next day at the recording studio, they learn their bassist has shipped off with the Marines and their guitarist went to Vegas with his new girlfriend. Mr. White presents Guy and the lead singer some material to record, and the lead singer has a hissy fit and quits, leaving Guy the lone remaining member of the Wonders. Guy decides to stay in LA, and the lead singer's ex is about to head back to their hometown when he stops her and they kiss, realizing they've been in love the whole time. In the epilogue, the guitarist is a hotel and casino manager in Vegas, the bassist got a Purple Heart in Vietnam and works construction in Orlando, the lead singer became a record producer, and Guy and his girl got married, had 4 kids, and now teach jazz music in Washington State. And that's That Thing You Do in a Namely 90s minute, more or less.
And now back to the show.
Welcome back, everyone. Wow, I have so much more energy than the last segment for some reason. Maybe it's because I don't hate Mondays, because it's Monday today. If you're listening to this on the day it comes out. Andrew, are you ready to play a new game? I'm calling this one Garfield, or Garfield. It's a quote game where I'm going to give you a quote, and you tell me if it's from Garfield the cat, from actor Andrew Garfield playing Peter Parker / Spider-Man in the Spider-Man movies, or from the 20th president of the United States of America, James A. Garfield.
Is he the one who died in office?
You're thinking of Abraham Lincoln.
No.
So
I don't think I am, though.
For example,
he was shot by an assassin.
You're thinking of Abraham Lincoln.
No.
Who's the assassin of James A. Garfield?
Let me look it up.
And now I have to remove the quote, "I've been shot."
What's that in there?
Who knows? Who knows?
Let's see. Yes, he was shot, but by whom?
James Vanderbeek.
James Vanderbeek. Oh boy. Where, how is this so far?
James Buchanan.
Charles J.
Hoover.
Gatineau?
Was he like in the French American War during the what?
Yeah, he was killed outside the bathroom. Garfield's. Yeah, he shot him. So he was shot and then treated and then died.
Oh, that does sound familiar. At least he didn't die of pneumonia. So for example, a quote, "I hate Mondays" would be from the cat Garfield. "Really, you seriously think I'm a cop in a skin-tight red and blue suit" would be from
Spider-Man, Garfield, Parker, Peter.
Yes. Andrew Garfield in The Amazing Spider-Man. And now more than ever, the people are responsible for the character of their Congress would be President James A. Garfield.
Indeed.
All right. And after being served a compilation of me saying, "Are you ready for this?" Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Okay. First quote. "A brave man is a man who dares to look the devil in the face and tell him he is a devil." Was that Garfield, or Garfield? Do you want me to do voices?
No.
A brave man is a man who dares to look the devil in the face and tell him he is a devil.
I can't imagine the writing is good enough in any of these things.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, it would be Spider-Man or the president.
Right. Mm-hmm. A lot of these have two choices that are very obvious.
I'm going to say James A. Garfield said this.
James A. Garfield, is that your final answer, Andrew?
Yes.
You are correct. You got a point. Congratulations.
Thank you.
One. Next quote. I'm gonna throw you out the window now. I'm gonna
go with Andrew Garfield playing Peter Parker.
Not Garfield to normal.
No.
Or Odie. All right. Final answer?
Yeah.
You're correct. You are correct. Wow, we're gonna blow right through these. Next up we have Love Me, Feed Me, Never Leave Me. Is that Garfield or Garfield?
It doesn't sound like something Garfield the cat would say.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't sound like something a president would say in the 1800s. Or whenever.
I mean, he was a portly man. But
I'm going to go with...
But Peter Parker did have dinner at Gwen Stacy's house in that first Amazing Spider-Man.
I'm going to go with Garfield the cat.
Garfield the cat. Why? You said it didn't sound like anything Garfield would say.
Except I feel like there was a Garfield comic where like John went away or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Garfield was happy to see him back, mostly just because he was getting fed again or something like that. So I'm going to go with Garfield the cat.
As cats tend to do. Okay. You're correct. Batting 3 for 3. You may need a B score or above to win this one. Next up, we have I Love You Guys. I'm going to say that's going to
be Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker / Spider-Man.
And do you want to wager which of the Spider-Man movies this was from?
I don't even know what they are. Is this Spider-Man 2? No, Spider-Man. Yeah, 2.
Are we using your connotation or my connotation or notation?
I don't know. Neither there's a difference.
Neither might. Well, because when you say Spider-Man 2, it would be the second Andrew Garfield movie.
Yes.
Okay. No, this is actually from. Yes, you're correct. This is Andrew Garfield. This is from spoiler. He appears in Spider-Man No Way Home, which is one of the Marvel movies. So that would be Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3.
Mm-hmm,
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you're still batting 100.
What a hot mess.
This is impressive. All right, next up we have. He was saying that to like Spider-Man. Because there's 3 Spider-Men in that movie. Right reason is stronger than force. Right reason is stronger.
Part of me wants to say
force.
The president, but then another part of me feels like that sounds like pseudo poignant to the point where it could have been like in a Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like Spider-Man is not the strongest superhero.
What does Uncle Ben always say?
Is scrappy. It cooks in 1 minute. Oh, sorry.
That's good. That's good.
I'm going to go with the president of the United States.
Not Garfield the cat.
The president of the United States.
You're correct. You keep faking me out. Thinking you're gonna go one way, and then I play along, and then you zag. Next up, his IQ is so low you can't test it. You have to dig for it. Garfield
Garfield the cat.
Reasoning.
Cutting wit.
It's a Peter Parker thing to do as well. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, was the wittiest of the 3. Garfield the cat, final answer?
It's hard to be that cutting when you're a scrawny white dude. Yeah, I'm going with the cat.
True. You're correct. You're batting 100, 6 for 6. How you feeling? How you doing?
Feeling pretty good.
Still have 4 or 5 more. But you're almost there. If you want to look thinner, hang around people fatter than you.
It's got Garfield the cat written all over it.
Are you sure that's not James A. Garfield, the portly president who was shot outside of
could you imagine if that was like a quote from him? Donald Trump would say it. No, it's the cat.
Okay, you're correct. Well done.
I think I actually remember that comic.
Oh, good. If the power to do hard work is not a skill, it's the best possible substitute for it. Is that Garfield, or Garfield?
Well, that's the president. It has to be.
Are you sure that's not Peter Parker?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay. 8 for 8, Andrew. This is amazing. But I think I have you with this next one. Are you gonna go into battle as a cool youth pastor?
That's got to be Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, it occurs to be using quotes with "gonna" is not going to lend itself.
Well,
to,
youth pastor wasn't really a thing when the president was president, and Garfield didn't really go into politics or religion.
9 for 9.
I'm going with Peter Parker.
For the next one? Oh,
yes,
you were correct.
No, thank you.
So next quote. Honestly, this one was such an affront to me that I'm at a loss for words. Just spit in my face next time.
That's going to be Andrew Garfield playing Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? I'm giving you the opportunity to guess something else at this point, but you could stick with Andrew Garfield. You're batting 100, Andrew.
Oh my God. It's from Hocus Pocus 2.
Yes, that is a review from Butterbox for Hocus Pocus 2.
Yes. Yes. Oh God. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
good.
I'm glad you caught that. A little bit of help for me. Now, the real last question is, the last quote. Things don't turn up in this world until somebody turns them up. I'm crying after that one.
I feel like there's sort of like agricultural undertones to this, so I'm going to go with the president.
Final
given
answer
the time he was alive.
For
yes.
Are you going to ace it? Are you? No doubts here. No.
The president.
Andrew, on this game of Garfield, you've aced every quote with the correct answer. Well done. And did it in record time.
Yeah.
That
was classic. The Hocus Pocus 2. I knew it was coming. That's what she said.
Yeah. I almost had you. You were so just in it that you almost went right past it.
Well done.
Thanks. That's been Garfield. If any of you out there have better quotes from Andrew Garfield playing Peter Parker / Spider-Man, Garfield the cat, or even 20th President of the United States, James A. Garfield, send it to us on our socials, and we'll, I don't know, maybe do a second game of this somewhere down the line.
Should be fun.
Yeah. Anything else for this week?
No. I think that about does it. That was fun.
All right. Yeah. Congratulations on acing the quiz. And that's it for this week's edition of Name Me 90s. Remember, you can find new episodes out every Monday. Find us on Instagram, Bluesky, and YouTube at Name Me 90s with 90s, and tell us what you want us to talk about on future episodes. If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Name Me 90s, also with a 90s. Finally, you can also contact us through our website, nameme90s.com. And you can. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, I Hate Mondays, Doozer, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon, that's Andrew, and we will catch you next time.